here is the Mayor, Scott Maddasion, in studio. We just recently had a big major snowstorm early in the week. We're going to get hit again as we get into the weekend. Let's talk a little bit about how the city works around these kind of events.
Yeah, so we have 150 miles of road in Clinton that we have to attend to when a snow event comes like that. So there's priorities on how that council has approved, and gosh, I don't even know when it's been approved. It's been a long time. The priorities have remained the same of how we attack a snow event like that. We have up to 9 pieces of equipment, whether it's an end loader or a small truck or a big truck, running at all times. Obviously, we don't have unlimited personnel, so they're not all running 24 hours. Like the other day, the snow event was quite some time, right? But our guys and gals do have to have some time off. So we're running as many as we can, as long as we can, and then they get their break, and then we come back and attack it. But our priorities are, the priority one, obviously, are streets that are hospital and emergency routes. Any roads that are marked snow routes, and then primary highways that are under the city maintenance, right? So 2nd Street is a primary highway, right? Yeah. Lincoln Way, primary highway. And then there's some, like 7th Avenue in front of the Y there. That's technically a highway because it comes off 2nd Street and then gets you over to where the bridge is, right? So those are the priority roads that are number one priority, and they're going to get the most attention at the beginning of a snow event and throughout that snow event, right? Then we move to bus routes, major traffic areas. So bus routes as in MTA bus routes, because people rely on the MTA to get to and from work or home or whatever. So that's going to be next. Major traffic areas, you can, 3rd Street, 4th Street, obviously those are large. Bluff, all the way out to the west end on manufacturing. That's a major thoroughfare that's going to be taken. Main Avenue is actually part of Main Avenue, a couple blocks is a highway, but Main Avenue is an important one. The Mill Creek Parkway, that's a major travel area. So those types of roads are going to be in that priority 2. And then priority 3 is the residential municipal service streets, commercials, area streets where there's a lot of businesses, and then cul-de-sacs and dead ends are typically done at the end of category 3. So we try to get to as many streets as we can as fast as we can, but those side streets and things like that, and we all understand that if they're not taken care of right away, sometimes they can have ruts, they can get icy, and they can freeze and things like that. But it's the nature of the beast when you have 9 pieces of equipment and not unlimited resources of people to attack all that stuff. So
before we get into the removal aspect of it, I know that you go out and you treat the roads as well.
Yeah. So they had the brine going down the day before, so they do that. They'll brine, like I think. I don't know when it kind of switched over. We've avoided salt at the beginning of the snow events, and they like to do that brine first. There are places where they might salt right away, like things that have sharp curves and things like that, where you may slide off if you're trying to turn a corner or something that's sharp. So they'll do that. Hills, they'll put ice and stuff or salt and things down like that too. But then, as we went through those priorities, they're also salting as they go when they're plowing the streets, whether it's a side street or a main street.
Now, are the same city employees that pick up our garbage, are they the same ones who are going to be removing the snow?
Correct. So we have our public works department, so the folks that work in the parks department, the street maintenance, and the sewer maintenance. Those are the main group of folks that are going to be out there removing snow and doing all that stuff. So like the other day, we had garbage and recycling collection was postponed for that day, and those folks get moved into that snow removal aspect, whether they're in a small truck or a big truck or we have some folks that can do the end loaders and the graders and things like that. So it just kind of depends on what you're certified on to jump in, whatever. But and then they flex their schedules too. So we try to have things going all night long or all day long, 24 hours. But there could be a time where maybe we don't have an overlap and we're not out there.
So who is the actual person in charge of the snow removal? Who's the head of that?
That'd be Brian Lemke, Public Works.
All right.
Yep. And they have a plan, and they train their folks, and they stick to the plan and the priority list and how they do it. And to be honest with you, the roads in Clinton haven't really changed in 50, 60 years, right? The priorities haven't really changed, and the process, although it's changed a little bit, it's pretty much the same. There's not many things you can do. Drop, plow, push snow, right? I mean,
visiting with Scott Maddasion, Mayor of Clinton. Well, you talk about the streets haven't really changed that much, but there's going to be a major change, Manufacturing Drive and Bluff. Fill us in on how that's coming.
Yeah, we've talked about it many times on here, and I know I really want people to not call me and tell me I didn't know this was going to happen, because it's going to be a big project for about 3 years. So I always like to talk about it because I want to make sure people know, like, this is happening, right? We are doing the final, the aesthetics, and that's like where you want benches, what the benches are going to look like, where the street lights are going to be, what the street lights are going to look like, and all that kind of stuff. So the schematic of the road is done. We'll be letting out bids to get that started soon, but now we're finalizing that. And then, like we were talking before we came on air, there'll be a trail all the way along there. So you'd be able to, hop on the trail at 4th Street and then run, bike, walk all the way out to the west end to the highway there. So that is something that we've never had before. The sidewalk on there currently is pretty dangerous. Some of it's really close to the roads. Some of it's pretty beat up. So this will be a good addition out there. And then we'll try to link trails up to that too, because a trail network is extremely important. That's one thing that folks really look for as they're moving into a community. If you're kind of watching and talking to different people, and so that's going to be a focus that they're working on. It's fairly inexpensive to do some of it. Some of it's more expensive, but it's a neat thing to have for your community. You have a nice trail network to get folks.
You bring up something very interesting, because it's going to be of great benefit to the people who live in the community and the businesses and industries who are along these roads, but it is going to make the area more attractive.
Yeah, I think when you have a brand new road, and when we put in some new street lights and some benches and some greenery and things like that, trees, all that good stuff, I think as folks come to our community and they drive that road, it's going to be really appealing. It's going to be really nice, and we're going to use that in our wayfinding as a major thoroughfare to try to get people to go down Manufacturing and Bluff, and then hop off on a side street. We'll just take 5th Avenue South, for example. Take 5th Avenue South and then hop straight down to the downtown and the river, and then try to route them, through everywhere. Obviously, you can't get all the way to the north end on Bluff and Manufacturing, but we sure can route them to that way, as they're driving to or from. So
very interesting. And before we take a break for the weather, so the breakdown of are they going to work like on 1 mile stretch at a time, or any idea?
So basically from Highway 30 to about College Avenue is going to be the first section.
Okay.
So that's manufacturing. We're calling that for this project. So all the way to about College Avenue, that'll be taken care of first. And then once they get that done, then they'll start working from College all the way down to 4th Street. And it'll be, I don't know exactly how they're going to attack the construction. That's that's a higher pay grade than mine, right? How they do that, but I do know that those are going to be the two sections, like phase 1, phase 2 kind of thing.
And obviously there's going to be detours, there's going to be headaches, but you've got to accept that.
Yeah. And that's another reason why I want everyone to know that this project is coming, because it's going to be, it's going to be a nuisance for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. But a good nuisance in the sense that we're investing in infrastructure, we're getting things fixed, and that road it needs tended to. It's pretty bad, and we can't overlay it anymore. It's
I would
time
imagine,
to tear it up.
You're probably, there are some businesses in industry that are going to be along this, so you're letting them know as well.
Yeah, the engineering department has been in contact with all of them. They were actually prepared to start the project last year. But because of the federal funding that we got, there were some more things that we had to do, environmental things and everything, so that delayed us a year. So we should be 1 year into this project already based on the original plan. But either way, $15 million of our tax dollars came back from the federal government to our community, so we can't be mad about that.
Outstanding. Again, visiting with Scott Maddasion. Let's take a break for the weather, brought to you by Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
For your Thursday, cloudy skies and rather calm conditions ahead of our next winter storm. We'll see temperatures in the low 30s. Snow becoming likely tonight. We've got a winter storm warning that goes into effect through the entire day Friday. Lows dropping into the low 20s. With your Storm Track 8 forecast, I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky.
Still partly cloudy conditions, still cool, 22 degrees. Our update brought to you by Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
Everyone knows the climate changes quickly in the Midwest. Make your home comfortable all year round with Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
Right now, Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning offers up to $380 in rebates, plus additional incentives on a whole home comfort system from Bryant, whatever it takes.
No matter what the temperature is like outdoors, at least your home will always be comfortable when you trust Kelly.
Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning in Clinton, your Bryant factory authorized dealer.
Visiting with Scott Maddasion. Budgets, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this is the, when we start our budget, we have to have that certified by, I think, end of April now. It used to be the end of March, but so over the next couple weeks, if you're interested in the budget process and how we do that, they're all public meetings. They're usually on Thursdays at 3 o'clock or 3:30 is when we start the budget meetings. Some of them last half an hour, some of them last an hour or more. It depends on which funds we're looking at and different things like that. So in a couple weeks, those will be coming up, and I invite any citizens that are interested in the budget stuff to come on in and listen and kind of learn how we get through that process.
So who do you talk to? Who comes in? I would imagine like the people at the Parks and Recreation Department, the Fire Department, the Police Department, the library.
Yeah, so all of those departments. Every department has to submit a budget for the next fiscal year, and they work with Anita, our finance director, to put the budget together, and they look at what they did the last 5 years and then kind of what they have going forward and things like that. So they all prepare the budget, and then Anita kind of puts all that stuff together, and then her and Matt, the city administrator, work together to present a projected or a presentable budget to the council, and then the council, it has line by line everything for how much paper that the Parks and Rec needs to purchase, like all of that stuff down to anything, office supplies, all that. So anything up to maybe the Public Works needs a new plow truck for $200,000 or $300,000, whatever it is. So it is a plethora of things. It's a lot of stuff. There's funds that operate themselves, like the solid waste and the sewer fund. Those are based off of revenue that comes in from from trash and sewer and things like that. So those budgets are a little easier because it's like, hey, we're going to project this much money. This is what we need. A lot of times we have surpluses in those budgets, which is nice. And then that money can be reinvested. So maybe we don't have to borrow to buy a new plow truck. Maybe we can, pay cash for that, or a trash truck, or whatever it is. So, and then you have the general fund that's basically from tax revenue. The general fund, that's your Parks and Rec, your police, your fire, your library, different things like that they generate revenue, but they don't generate enough revenue to cover their whole basis.
So when you first took over as mayor of the city of Clinton, was this one of the things that really opened your eyes about city government?
Yeah, it really, really did, because you think that the whole budget is funded off tax dollars. Our $18 million, $18.5 million budget, you think that's all tax dollars. Actually, only $8 million of that is tax dollars, right? That come in from property taxes. The rest of it is different types of revenue and things like that. Maybe it's from the state or that. And I know some of that stuff's tax revenue too, but locally it's about $8 million. So that really opens your eyes. And then as you see all the moving parts and the different things of the city, it's really interesting in how it all fits together.
Yeah, and visiting with Scott Maddasion. Of course, here we are just at the beginning of the year 2024. What do you hope for in this year?
I hope that obviously with the economic conditions out there and the way the economy is going, hopefully that stays strong and we can continue to invest in infrastructure and things like that. I don't necessarily want to cut out those types of investments, because there was a time where Clinton, 10 years they didn't do anything for roads and stuff like that, and there's some things that we can cut back on a little bit to save some money right now since we're doing that big manufacturing and bluff project. But I want to continue to invest in those types of things. I want to be able to continue to invest in the tourism side of things so that we're bringing folks to our community. Would love to see some new businesses popping up from the retail strategies group that we're working with to try to attract some businesses. We've been doing that for about 18 months or so now, so I'd really love to see the fruits of that kind of labor showing up here this year. Continued success of our local businesses, that's always a big priority, and however we can help them. We had a lot of business expansions over the last couple of years from ADM, Nestle, Big River Packaging, Clausen Trucking put a big addition onto their building down there. So anytime we can help in that type of stuff, I think that's important. Retail is important. More restaurants. That's what people tell me quite a bit. So hopefully we can work something out like that. But yeah, I think we really just I would just really like to stay the course and continue to grow our community and continue to be positive and continue to change the narrative about Clinton so that people, smile when they talk about Clinton, because that's how I feel.
We have you in every month, which is great. I would like to get Andy maybe in on a little more regular basis with Grow Clinton, because I know you work real closely with him.
Yeah. I think he'd be up for that. He loves the radio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got a really good radio voice. Probably better than me. So
and possibly me. I'm not sure.
Well, I don't think that, but no, he does a good job. So, but another thing that's coming up right now, obviously, the legislative session started this week out in Des Moines. So we don't have any huge priorities, so to speak, right now as far as out there with the legislature. But just a reminder to everybody that they're working on legislation as of now out there in Des Moines. So pay attention to that. And if you come across a bill that you have questions about or concerns, or you have ideas, you can always send them to me and I can get them to our legislators, Senator Knoyer and Representative Detterman. You can always reach out to them as well. We have some legislative coffees that come up each month where you can be in the room face to face with our legislators to ask questions and talk to them. And I just encourage every citizen to be a part of that process if you want to be.
Okay, appreciate your time. As always, before we do let you go, if people would like to know more about what is taking place in the city, there are many various ways to do so, aren't there, Scott?
Absolutely. We are active on Facebook with the Choose Clinton page, so everything is always on there. Our website is new and improved, and it's easier to find stuff. You can go to the website. You can always reach out to myself or a council member. We have all of our agendas posted online. All the historical stuff is posted online, so you could go back and look. If you're looking for council meetings, we stream them on YouTube. They're live on Microsoft Teams at the time of the council meeting. You can come in person, or you could go to our City of Clinton YouTube page and you could go back and watch them. Maybe you can't watch it Tuesday night, but Wednesday you have some time, you can go back and watch whatever council meeting that you want, and the budget meetings and all that stuff, we'll have those online. So we have the information out there. And you just got to go find it at one of those channels.
Okay, and something that just popped in before we let you go. I know just last week, Eric Cosette, they renamed that street right in front of the fireplace. That went over pretty well. Yeah,
there was a great crowd there, well deserved. We've been doing some street dedications in certain places, and we did Todd Stone, and then the fire chief wanted to do it for Eric Cosette, and we felt that when we all talked that it was fitting to be right there in front of Central Fire, where he spent the majority of his time and his career, and when they brought that up, I was like, absolutely. Yeah. There was no questions. It was like, let's do it. So,
hey, appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.